flash there was the knife, and in no time.
Alfred Hitchcock once said, "People don't always express their inner thoughts to one another. A conversation may be quite trivial, but often the eyes will reveal what a person really thinks or feels." Similarly, Hitchcock didn't need to use dialogue or even sound to bring out the wanted information and provoke the emotions in his films. See, Hitchcock, after all, started with making silent films where he had to rely solely on visuals to communicate the story. Even after the evolution from silent to sound film, he stayed true to his vision of pure cinema wherever it was possible. Pure cinema is a style of filmmaking that emphasizes the visual aspects of the medium, prioritizing images, and later on even sounds, over narrative or dialogue. Pure cinema is selective, removes redundancy, and creates films where the smallest details, every detail, matters. From the position and placement of the camera to the costumes of the actors. Everything is perfectly orchestrated and serves the bigger purpose of the story. We can also call this visual storytelling, because the goal is to tell the story through visual information. So, how did Hitchcock do it, and why is he a master of the cinematic art form and of visual storytelling? Let's dive in. The opening scene of his film Rear Window shows us what pure cinema is. This scene gives us viewers so much visual information. The camera pans around in an extreme wide shot and we see that we are located in the backyard of a typical American city and neighborhood. Furthermore, the camera reveals the sleeping protagonist with sweat running down his head. Also, a shot of the thermometer tells us that the temperatures are really high, so it must be summer. Now, more and more information is revealed in closer shots. For example, a married couple sleeping outside because of the heat. Finally, the camera enters the apartment of our protagonist again and reveals further details of him. His name is L.B. Jeffries, he apparently broke his leg, he has a broken camera and a lot of photos hanging on the walls, signaling that he is a photographer. Also, there is a staple of magazines, the one on top showing a model. Maybe his crush? In just 2 minutes, Hitchcock sets up the location, the mood, and the protagonist for his upcoming film perfectly. He shows and doesn't tell all the important information. He could have also used dialogue for the exposition of Jeff's character. However, that would have been average at best and kind of dull. To be shown all these details and set the puzzle together in our heads makes this character intro amazing and memorable. Let's move on to a special camera technique which Hitchcock invented, the so-called Dolly Zoom or Vertigo Effect. It was first used in his film Vertigo, hence the name. The protagonist is on a chase upwards a big tower. Unfortunately, he is really afraid of heights, and as he looks down he feels terrified. How did Hitchcock bring out this fear and uneasiness in visual terms? Well, you guessed it. With the Dolly Zoom, a camera movement in one direction while simultaneously zooming in the other direction. For example, camera dolly in and zoom out. Hitchcock was a strong proponent of so-called point-of-view shots to put the viewer in the situation of the actor or actress. He went to extreme measures to ensure a point-of-view shot really felt like a point-of-view shot. He measured the exact eye height of an actor and placed the camera at exactly that level. That's perfectionism and determination. Hitchcock furthermore used the camera as an active participant in storytelling. The camera movements guide the audience's emotions and focus. The famous shower scene from Hitchcock's Psycho is undeniably a masterclass in editing. The director really obsessed over the scene, stating in an interview that the scene was the only reason he wanted to make Psycho in the first place. Not only was the scene very voyeuristic and explicit for the time, but also ingeniously prepared and edited. It took a whole week to film, which was roughly a third of the shooting period, and used well over 70 camera setups and over 50 cuts. Hitchcock uses a lot of close-ups, extreme close-ups, and details to be close to the hectic action. Also, jump cuts and the breaking of the 180-degree rule intensify the terror of the scene. Furthermore, every time the knife swings down and hits the victim, the film has a cut occurring. So the figuratively cut on the screen also becomes a cut in reality of film. Interestingly, the viewer never sees the knife hitting. That one close-up of the knife on her body was actually shot in reverse with a little fake blood on the tip of the knife. This scene feels so terrifying with the blood running down in the bathtub, the fantastic score, the obscure, dark attacker, and the whole setting. To top it off, the scene ends with one of the best match cut transitions in cinematic history. These are just a few examples of Hitchcock's genius in visual storytelling and filmmaking. There are dozens of more things and techniques to be learned by one of cinema's greatest directors, like the concept of suspense, the MacGuffin, the theme of The Wrong Man and of Perfect Murder, or his legendary cameo appearances, as well as the marketing of his films. But speaking of suspense, if you want to know how Steven Spielberg creates tension in his classic movie Jaws, click on the recommended video and find it out.